Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the fifth episode of our second season of MODTalks. My name is Amanda Griffin-Jacob, and I'll be your host for today. Thank you for joining us together with Modularity Home, the exclusive distributor of premium Italian home brands Scavallini, Valcuccini, Pianca, and Elica. For those first-time viewers tuned in today, Modularity Home focuses on cabinetry systems and living systems for the home. From kitchens, I'm very happy to say that I have my very own Scavallini kitchen, as well as bathrooms, living rooms, wardrobes, and walk-in closets. They produce MODTalks, which is a webinar series that aims to inspire and ignite interest in style, design, and architecture among our end users, fellow industry practitioners, and students with specific conversations on new design concepts for different spaces of our homes. For today's episode entitled A Home with Purpose, we will be talking with a very special guest on how to reach our life goals with design. I cannot wait to introduce her to you and get her thoughts on how to achieve a home with purpose. But before we start our conversation, I would like to remind you that we'll be having a Q&A portion at the end, so feel free to type in your questions in the chat box. Please make sure to indicate your full name in the chat box, as we will be giving away a special prize to one lucky winner with the best question chosen by our speaker. All right, let me turn you over to Modularity Home's General Manager, Brian Ontiveros, the man who makes it all happen, to share a few words. Hi, Brian.
Hello, Amanda. Good afternoon. It's very good to have you here. Thank you for agreeing to join us today and to host MODTalks. MODTalks has always been one of Modularity Home's goals, to be able to collaborate with professionals we respect in the industry in this type of virtual platform. We're very blessed to have the opportunity to not only learn from the people who we look up to, but also share these insights and knowledge to the entire community. This includes end users, students, industry professionals, and others. We hope to continue to use this effort as a means to inspire and ignite conversations on new perspectives on home design. Thank you to our audience listening live today, and also to those who are going to watch later on the replays. For your support. Thank you also to my good friend and guest speaker today for sharing her time with us. This will be a very inspiring episode, which I hope you guys enjoy. I'll turn you over back to Amanda to formally introduce our guest.
Thank you so much, Brian. A graduate of the Master of Architecture program at Harvard's University's Graduate School of Design, our next speaker has over 15 years of experience as a designer and is recognized as one of the Philippines' best architects by multiple publications and associations. In 2010, she founded DEQA Design Collaborative, an award-winning studio designing over 150 projects and constructed 120 from bespoke residences to hotels and master planned properties. At DEQA, she guides a passionate team to create ideas, places, and moments that influence how people live, think, and feel, creating impactful experience ecosystems that use the power of design to inspire the everyday. It is my honor to introduce one of the industry's most inspiring architects, and my architect as well, architect Denise De Castro. Hi, Denise. You're on mute.
Hi, Amans. Hi, Brian. Thank you for having me today. I'm looking forward to our discussion.
Well, it's so exciting to get to talk to you, Denise, and delve into your process. So let's jump straight into the questions. Your design is very much experience-driven and human-centric. Can you tell us more about how you came to this philosophy, and were there any particular influences that inspired you?
Sure. So as a studio, we have practiced experience-driven and human-centric design for a few years. And it was really based on my stint at IDEO, which is a leading design thinking firm, which really coined the phrase. It was such a departure from my conceptual education at Harvard that focusing on people, on users, was really sort of an aha moment. And from there, we honed this process through our projects, mostly hospitality ones, because for these projects, it's really important to focus on touch points, like on the guest journey, and to create these sensorial experiences, which are really essential when developing a unique and competitive design solution. So this is what makes the design so compelling to clients, and because it solves the problem of the users, and it also makes it what we call at DEQA defining moments. These are the ones that are Instagrammable, memorable, impactful, and that will keep people coming over and over again. So that was the basis of the foundation of the human-centric design. But recently, I completed a live design workshop called Tickled Pink, which really inspired me. I did this earlier in the year. And it also inspired me professionally because I realized that we had actually been practicing purpose-centered design for a while without formally naming it. So what does it mean, right? So by focusing on a client's purpose, it's basically what gets them out of bed in the morning, what motivates them, what they love, what they're good at, or basically what they think the world needs, and helping them achieve the goals that are formed by this purpose. So I realized that as designers, we can really create more bespoke solutions for the home, for the architecture and the interiors, if we look at purpose. So it's really an opportunity to use the power of design to do more and to impact our clients' lives more in a positive way. So I'm really excited to talk more about it. So I'll pass it back over to you, Mans.
That's so interesting, Denise. And I'm really excited to hear all about it because, as you know, for my main home, I've been renting. I live in Singapore, and someday soon I'm going to want to design my own home. So I'm really interested in sort of this purpose-driven technique. And this leads me to a poll question that I have for you viewers out there, and I want you guys to answer this. So for you, which space in the home is the most crucial in helping you live with purpose, for your purpose? And for example, the reasons you get up in the morning, it could be related to vocation, responsibilities, spirituality, and so on. So you have your choices there: the kitchen, the dining room, bathroom, living room, bedroom, wardrobe, and walk-in closet. But gosh, for me, and I know this isn't on the multiple choice list, but my dream is to have a hot yoga room because my practice is so important in my life and really helps start my day off right. Because living a healthy lifestyle, not just for me, but for my family as well, is something that I really strongly believe in. Actually, now that I think about it, it would be a multi-purpose space to accommodate the fitness needs for our whole family, as David feels the same way. And we are raising our children to be aware of how important it is to take care of yourself physically as well as mentally. So Brian and Denise, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, for me, it's actually not just one space. My purpose, I've discovered this recently, is to help people find joy and delight through design. So I have a few spaces in my home to help me fulfill this. So I think the first one is a really good workspace where I can be productive and creative. And also then I need a space very much like what you have, what you want, like a wellness space, right? To help me mentally and physically, where I can work out, meditate, and do all my other daily rituals. And of course, the last is the kitchen, since we're being hosted also by Scavolini. But I think it's a really important space where I can nourish myself and obviously connections with my husband, family, and friends. So it's more than one. And I think for most people, that's actually more than one space.
Yeah. I know we could answer more than one.
Yeah.
A whole laundry list then of things. Yeah. Brian, how about you?
I think for me, it's and we see a lot of this nowadays. It's a combination of 3 different things, like kitchen, dining, and living. A lot of people now, especially during this period of the pandemic, I think the new designs are more open. So you see a lot of great rooms wherein, you have your kitchen extending into the dining, and then the dining extending into the living room. So it's like one big space where people actually do a lot of things together as a family. Even post-pandemic, which I hope we're going there. It's a good space to entertain a lot of people. It's a good space to have family over or friends over. Speaking of purpose and purpose-driven activities and initiatives, Amanda, I remember you were telling me about one of the things that you were busy with. It's called IJM, right? Maybe you can share with us what you're doing for that organization and how it connects to all of this, that what we're doing in terms of shelter and housing. Yeah.
Thanks, Brian. Yes, I work with the International Justice Mission as their ambassador, and I focus on bringing national and global awareness of the online sexual exploitation and abuse of Filipino children, as well as fundraising for the rescue and aftercare for these victims. I'll just tell you a little bit about it, because surprisingly, not many Filipinos know much about it, but it is one of our leading problems of the country. Children as young as infants are sexually abused by traffickers who then spread and sell images or videos of the exploitation online, even live streaming the abuse for sex offenders everywhere in the world. And tragically, as I mentioned, the Philippines is at the epicenter of this crime. And so as a mother of 4 young children, something inside me broke when I heard about Filipino children, on average, just 11 years old, suffering from such unspeakable abuse. And what makes it even more painful is that you find out that the abuse is typically facilitated by the children's parents, the very people that are supposed to protect them. So I believe that every child deserves to be safe. And it is my honor to fight alongside IJM to see an end to the end of online sexual exploitation abuse of our children. But with that, what I really want to do, my dream is I want to eventually build aftercare shelters for these children, because they need to go to a place after they're rescued. And of course, we do not have enough shelters in the Philippines to help care and rehabilitate these kids once they do get rescued. So I'll definitely be reaching out to all of you guys to help make this dream come true.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's very admirable that you're spending a lot of time doing that. The Philippines being, as you said, the epicenter of the internet and Facebook and all these things, and even what we're doing now is all online. It's a double-edged sword, right? So sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. So we really have to fight that. Thanks, Amanda.
Well, thank you for letting me shine a spotlight on this really big, huge, it's one of the leading problems that the Philippines has, and not many people really realize that.
Yeah.
So on that note, I think the poll answer should be coming up so we can see what spaces are important to everyone. Okay, so of course we can see the number 1 space seems to be the kitchen.
Bedroom.
Not a shocker. Oh, it's the bedroom. Sorry, I didn't. Bedroom first, but closely by the kitchen. And then living room. So actually, it's that trifecta you were talking about, Brian.
Yeah.
That you were just talking about, especially, which is after or, with the pandemic, of everyone wanting to sort of share the space, right? And share a beautiful, harmonious space. So don't forget that we are giving away exclusive Modularity Home goodies later. So please stay tuned for that. And don't forget to put your whole name in the chat box so we can easily get your details afterwards. So our discussion today is all about designing with purpose. Denise, can you tell us more about how this strategy has evolved in your projects, specifically your residential projects that are very personal? And how do you further understand the goals of your clients through design?
Thanks for that, Mans. So yeah, it's been an ongoing process how to innovate it. over the past few years. But basically, it starts with the first step of our 4-step process, right? And it's called the understand and discover phase. So before any pen goes to paper, before we draw out a sketch even, we just listen and really learn about the vision of the client and all the objectives that they're trying to reach. Then we send out a questionnaire and a few worksheets. And actually, a lot of these worksheets I've redeveloped recently, really honing on values, vision, and goals. So they're very, very detailed and take a while to answer. And I've had some clients, really take their time with it. But it's really good because it sorts out not just their visual preferences, but also their priorities. And of course, identifying the purpose of each family member. So for example, we'll ask questions like, how do you want to feel in your home? How do you want your home to feel? And then we also ask, how will your home help you achieve your overall goals? And then how will this home fit in with your goals for you and your family? So they're very much aligned with thinking in this way rather than the traditional brief that a client gives. So if I need 4 bedrooms of 20 square meters, I need a kitchen of 30 square meters. It goes really beyond that. And it's asking about what they seek to achieve by building this home, what stage of life their family will be during the course of living in this home. And the intent is really, really to understand, again, delve deep, be curious, and really see from their point of view, but also see things that they don't see, right? Through all of this listening, things will really reveal itself. And I think that's where our creative genius lies, in listening and extracting this information. And then from here, we build a really detailed brief. And then we start doing our discovery process, which is, focused on experience, the experience that they dream of. And then we try to figure out how to achieve that. And of course, solve all the objectives that they've laid out, basically all the functions, the necessary spaces. And through that, then we find other solutions and details and spaces to help them reach their goals and live their purpose. So I want to give a few examples. Actually, Mans, I'm going to use you here. So for Amanda, her family is really everything, right? So she wanted her Manila home to be as comfortable for her children and to really make it a space that is an extension of their main home in Singapore. And another important thing is also she wanted to make her private spaces as restful as possible during her visit. So we really designed it in such a way to help achieve that purpose. And then another example would be in, I think, some of the images flashing now. We have a family whose purpose was centered on continuous learning and connecting with loved ones. So we designed gathering spaces on multiple levels inside and outside their home, all radiating from the kitchen, which allow them to host really creatively. And then in their private area, the library was the focus of their home, because this is where they get their most inspiration from learning and reading. So there's a few examples. That's how we incorporate it. Brian, if you want to share some thoughts also.
I think we worked on one.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is the one that wherein I think that they work for a design agency, right?
Yeah, advertising agencies.
Advertising agency, and then their kitchen was all the way up to the ceiling. We created like a custom piece wherein we put a ladder, and then as you said, there's a library that's close by, right?
Yes, yeah. And it was like their old home, which was a rental, really did not suit their needs. It was a very traditional enclosed kitchen with a formal dining room outside. So one of the things that they asked is they wanted to be able to cook and entertain at the same time and see the guests and have that experience of connection. And also have the kitchen as the focal point. So the kitchen is the focal point downstairs as the library is downstairs. So it really changed the way that they live, and they've been so thankful that we finished this home right before the pandemic. They said they are so grateful for the spaces that they've had to connect with each other as a family, but also be productive working from home.
Yeah. I think it's also good that, for some of the clients, if they've already experienced living in a rental or in a different house, and then as they build, experiences with their family there, it makes it clearer and clearer when they build their own house or a new house. They know what they want. It makes it easier for us, right? The more information we get from the clients in terms of their psychology, their purpose, and sometimes even very specific things that they wanted, things like that makes it, it sets us up for success in terms of what we're trying to do.
Yeah, exactly.
I was going to say, this process does seem long, but I imagine it really cuts out issues when you're really fully into the project down the line. So you can really sort of flesh those out before they become an issue right at the end. Brian, I was going to say, how does Modularity Home fit with this design philosophy and bring it to life?
It's actually a bit challenging, because the good thing about the brands that we work with, specifically Scavellini, we can show you some photos, but it's basically a collection of different types of kitchens. So, we have like an industrial kitchen wherein people who really want to cook seriously at home, we can use that specific kitchen called the Mia kitchen, which is something like this. And then we also have like classic kitchens or like super modern kitchens. This is where, in our perspective, we start with the aesthetic, and then we go deeper and deeper into the layout, and then the specific elements that the client needs. So, the challenging part is sometimes if Denise or the client wants something that's super custom, we really have to think out of the box, and in terms of how to mix different elements that are available to us. I think we've made it work, right, Denise?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we've had such a successful collaboration, Brian.
Yeah. The more tools we have coming from the brands that we carry, I think it makes it also easier for us to come up with like good solutions for Denise and her clients. We also have like the tea residence, I think, that we recently worked on together. When we do have some photos that we can show. I think these are still renderings because it's a new project. Denise, you want to talk about the client, like brief?
Yeah, so this one, they had been, again, like many of us, working from home and living from home for throughout the whole pandemic. And their brief was really influenced by that. So like all the spaces that you would normally find outside the home are now inside the home. So they had a study room for classes, a gym, a playroom, basically everything that they would need outside that they wanted inside their homes now. And again, the focus, they realized, like many of us, how important family is. So here, the one of the parents is going to be staying with the family. So they've incorporated that underground floor, and they have this very central open kitchen, which is basically a hub for everyone. So they want people to connect with. It's a 3-story home, right? So people will be at different levels all times of the day, but the kitchen is really the main hub, and it's open, and it's open to nature. So there's also that connection. It's also connected to the main vertical circulation. So it's easy to get to. So they're really hoping that this will become the space that everyone connects all throughout the day.
It's nice. I mean, I think, having like even if the space isn't that big, if we can accommodate like an island in the middle, I think that's really important in terms of usage. There's another model called the gym space that I wanted to show Amanda. So when she's ready to build her house in Manila, we can apply something like that. But basically, Scavallini collaborated with another influencer in Italy who's into physical fitness, and they created what they call the gym space, wherein this is even pre-pandemic. You can work out in the bathroom. You have this Swedish ladder where you can do Pilates exercises or stretching or crunches. And then that same system is where you integrate like the mirror or the bathroom cabinet or the sink. So I think it's a very unique solution that they created. I think this is like a new trend wherein people really use the spaces for different things. Yeah.
Wow. Don't show
Yeah.
Just need a bigger bathroom.
Yeah, I really love that that kitchen island, which brings me to saying that I really love personally working with both of you. Denise and I have worked on many of my homes, starting with the first residence that I bought pre-marriage and pre-kids. But this last project was an apartment that we bought a few years ago. And it was a complete gut renovation. It was a special project and a bit complicated because, especially with the kitchen, the space was really small, as you guys know. But you guys found a way to make it work, and I ended up with a gorgeous Scavallini kitchen that I love. An island couldn't fit in there, but one day I'm going to have it.
Yeah, no, we were really able to fit not only your functional needs, Mans, but your aesthetic. I know we also went out of our way to find the stone backsplash for you that you really wanted for this.
I think I was really insistent on that with you.
So yeah, you wanted to make it. I think you really like the light aesthetic, which I think comes from your English background, right? Your British background, like having lightness, and I think everything in your space is about having as much lightness visually, so it translates even into your kitchen.
Yes, and I love that you can see there the fridge is very obtrusive, but you were able to put a little pantry slide out for me beside the fridge. So you guys really work miracles with that space, I have to say, because it's not the easiest. There was no other space for my fridge to go to, so you had to work with what you had. But I think it turned out so beautiful.
I think like if it's a smaller space like an apartment, sometimes it's more challenging for us to design, which is good because we really have to rack our brains in terms of how to position all the elements and make it useful for you or the client. Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for trusting us. I hope you're able to use it soon.
Oh my gosh! Well, no, I've been using that for a while, and then the pandemic struck. So I'm looking forward to getting to use it next month. Okay. So my next question is for both of you. What are the possible challenges or difficulties you can encounter when it comes to designing homes with this kind of strategy or approach?
Denise?
Okay, well, actually the first challenge, Mans really brought it up, is that it does take a lot of time, right? It does take a lot of time to workshop with clients and really understand their motivations and goals. So you can't like get a jump start on things right away. So they also have to be able to articulate their vision and of course then their values and purpose. So there's a lot of communication within the family, within the couple, within their children to really draw this out. But like you said, the time spent up front really pays off as the design evolves, because you already pick up on a design direction or several options of design direction that you wouldn't have gotten without that first step of really understanding and discovery. And then I think the next challenge is not to exceed the budget to deliver the solutions. First we have to deliver all the primary objectives that we were tasked to solve. And then after that, of course, put in all the ones that are purpose centered, that are driving and will support the goals of the family members. So of course, we always run into issues, right? And as much as possible, my team and myself, we really try to keep the design intent as intact as possible, so the experience is not compromised. So we've really been doing a lot of budget alignments, and I think we really do this as a good service to our clients, because in the end, we really want them to have spaces that serve them, right, and that are active and not passive. And so they need to be excited about it, and we need to keep that excitement up. And so how do we do that? We make sure that it can get executed as they envision it. But lastly, I think on the flip side, I actually think there's a greater disadvantage if we don't design with purpose and using this framework, because I really see it as a lost opportunity not to align your home like with your current and future goals. And it's also, I think by designing this way, you can really increase the return on your design investment. Because I think if you design like with aesthetics or style or function, or even a designer's own agenda first, you may get a home that is responsive to your basic needs and wants. It might satisfy the functions day to day, but it really doesn't do much more. So why not design with purpose, so that your home really can have a greater impact on your family in a positive way, right? It can help you live a better life. It can help you achieve your goals, whether they're now or in the future. So it really, a well-designed home focused on purpose can set you up, like Brian, like you said, set you up for success. So it's an incredible opportunity, and it would really be lost if you don't design in this way. So, I'm excited to design homes with clients that are also excited about this strategy, because we can really fulfill, their visions and help them live to the fullest.
Yeah. Right. Thanks, Denise. I think I talked to a lot of other Scavolini, Valcucina, and Bianca dealers all over the world. And it's really a cultural thing. Sometimes, when I talk to the ones that are in the United States or in Europe, when they do designs, it's just one or two proposals, and then that's it. They don't really do all these due diligence of interviewing the clients and trying to understand what the clients want. It's much more difficult to do it like how we do it here, Denise. But as you said, if you do it now, it pays off in the end when the clients are happy and the clients live there already, and you have less problems. Everything is clarified during the start. So I think I agree with you. It requires passion on our end, because in terms of the business of design, it doesn't make sense, right? You would rather do cookie cutter, houses, or we would rather do cookie cutter kitchens. But at the end of the day, what's the point, right? We want to be passionate about what we do. We want our clients to be happy at the end of the day. And it's about trust. So, when the clients feel that they trust you or they trust us, it's a much smoother transition into, building the house and turning it over to the clients. And it becomes like a friendship at the end of the day, which is, a bonus or something that we look forward to. Yeah.
And I think, they're even years after, right? They really come back and say, our house is really, our home has really suited our family and how it's grown.
Yeah.
So I think that's the best compliment, really, that it suits their values.
Agree.
Oh, I love those answers. Before we go on, I just want to remind everyone out there watching, please don't forget to write your questions in the chat box so you stand a chance of winning that wonderful prize. Okay, I have one final question for you both before we go to the Q&A from the audience. What advice would you give to future architects or interior designers and even clients in planning for a home with purpose? I would say patience. Is that on top of your list?
Well, I think first for those looking to build, I think again 4 steps. I think first is really reflect on what drives you. Your vision as well, and again those values. So if you can identify that in your family, I think that's the first step. And then building the brief. This can be hard, and like I mentioned earlier, we do help the clients build the brief if one is not detailed enough. But I think this is where a lot of people do start, and actually this is where they get excited because they start looking at their wish lists, like their non-negotiables, what they like and even what they don't like. So I think that's the second step. And then third, is to find a team that aligns with the values that you have. And of course, one that you like and trust, because you really be working with them for a while. Like for some of our residential clients, we're working with them for a few years. So someone that you can really trust that vision with is important. And then last, working with that team, empower and collaborate generously is, I think, the best solution so that everyone can work harmoniously and execute that purpose-centered design for you. And then for designers, let's see. I think everyone has their own way of working. So their own styles and philosophy and even agenda. So I think if this way of working resonates with you, definitely design with purpose. I really believe that you can create so much more value for your clients if you design in this way.
Yeah. Is it my turn?
Yeah.
It's so hard to go after Denise.
Everything she said.
No, I think for clients, the first advice I would give is to find an architect, designer, and supplier that you trust. And then it's good to collaborate with us and give all your requirements and your thoughts and your even aesthetics. But at the end of the day, trust your designers and trust your architects, because what's the point in hiring them if you're just going to change everything that they do. That's where I see sometimes that the project becomes a bit toxic or difficult. I guess for future designers, students now, keep an open mind, do more research. You can talk to us. We can also explain what we do, and you can collaborate with us as well. Sometimes I find that newer designers or architects are a bit too idealistic, and they think that anything can be done. But sometimes there are limitations. So just keep an open mind and allow us to explain certain things that can or can't be done. Yes, that's it. I'm being a bit political.
Well, no, that was amazing advice from both of you. And it was such an enlightening and inspiring conversation. So thank you, Brian. And of course, Denise, for letting us in on your thoughts and sharing your expertise on this. So we are now going to open the floor for questions for architect Denise and Brian from our audience. And after the Q&A, Denise will choose her favorite question, and he or she will be given the Modularity Home hand soaps and fragrance set So please make sure that your names are placed so that we can easily identify you guys. Okay, Denise, I have a question for you. I'll start it off. What happens when your client, speaking from experience, wants something and you can see it's not really in the best interest of the project, or it's not going to go down that road? How do you deal with conflict with clients?
Oh, okay. Well, sometimes I think the difficult part when designing a project is that there are just too many options. And I think that goes to your question also about how do you choose, how do you guide a client to the better solution, right? So, there's many ways we do that, but we do go through all the options and go through the advantages and disadvantages. And then, of course, when we do see that one has more advantages and we think it's a better solution, the key trick is also we present it first, right? So we think, okay, this is the best option. And we always, even internally as a team, we have many options we're designing. And so we have to collectively also agree that that's the best solution. So it's about explaining, I think, very rationally and pragmatically. So what we do is that we do show the creative side of it, but we also look at the pragmatic side. And usually it's either of the two. Sometimes it's a client's, they just want it because they want it. And then sometimes it's also a pragmatic consideration. So sometimes the solution is dependent on what is required. But it's a lot about finessing also the way we address the concerns.
Yes, because a lot of clients are very attached to their own vision, right? So I imagine it can get a bit hairy at times.
Well, sometimes they have many visions,
yes,
right? And it's about distilling really what that vision is, and making sure that that it's the right one for that time, and then it's one that can grow with them into the future.
Yes, and I can really see where this strategy, the purpose strategy, really comes into play. It's so important very early on, so you can really
yes
problem later on. Okay, so we have a question from Mika Marfori, and she says, some people may have an idea what to do with a particular space, but I come out blank. What if I don't know what I want still? Are there guide questions to draw out what should be in that particular room and a design for it? I just hope to have a functional and visual pleasing space in my home, or spaces in my home.
So I have our brief is, our questionnaire has really been built over time, and I'm happy to speak to you to help you figure that out. But yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy to develop this brief and on these questions. But I'm happy to share them.
I'm sure your questions actually, sort of delve into things that they wouldn't have even have thought of. So
yes, a lot of it.
But then, your questionnaire will help uncover those needs.
Because, yes, and I mean, it's not just there's questionnaires and even worksheets. So it's a lot of work up front for the client, which I think sometimes they don't expect. But then they really appreciate it after they do it and go through the exercise, because they see that, okay, we've aligned on these, and now they've eliminated these other goals or these other requirements. So it helps whittle it down and get the process going. Because really, at the beginning of a design process, I mean, really, how do you make something out of nothing, right? That's always where we start off, right? When you put that pen on a paper, where do you start? And really understanding the client, like I said, going through this understand and discover phase is really so important. So asking the right questions and building that brief is really critical.
Okay, great. Yes. Sorry, I'm lost with the questions. Okay, this question comes from Corazon Ang. How do you ensure that work-life balance is promoted when designing a home office?
Oh, okay.
Good one.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Again, it goes on to the purpose of your key purpose. If your key purpose is really, and you're in a stage of life that you want to be productive and really focus on work, maybe that space is has to be more for that. But if you also want, if it's not primarily that, maybe you need other spaces in your home that will balance your needs for leisure and downtime. So I don't think maybe it's really about balance. There's always going to be one that's going to be more predominant. So I think figuring out what's the more predominant one at that point in time, and then making sure it's flexible enough to adjust it when then your priorities change.
Great answer. Okay, Brian, I think this one is for you. Mariel Jose is asking, how do you handle clients changing requirements in the middle of a project?
I think it depends on at what point it is. If it's like, if the kitchen is already in production in Italy, then we can't really do anything about it anymore. We just have to be completely honest about it. And we're very clear before we start the project. We can go through different revisions and we can explain and revise. But once you pull the trigger, we're going to order it from Italy. It's going to be produced and shipped. You can't make any changes anymore. And that's a difficult thing to say, but sometimes we have to say it. Denise, do you experience that? It's much more complicated in your case.
Yeah, actually, I know working with you in any brand that imports that we really need to focus on that. So we actually, like for the tea kitchen that you showed earlier, we haven't even broken ground on the house and we've already ordered the kitchen.
Yeah.
Right. So the kitchen was that important in the design that we focused. We really focused on the interiors. And that one was a really critical point, part of their brief. So we really, like Brian said, they pulled the trigger on it and there's no turning back. So now we have to build the house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm getting from this conversation is that you guys really have to be good with people. And I didn't really think about it before, but yeah, you have to really sort of be delicate and manage people's expectations and demands and all of that.
In the Philippines, sometimes we have clients who have multi-generational, different at different ages living in the same house, and everyone has a say, everyone has a room, but they all share the kitchen. So we have to get everyone's opinion on the kitchen. So sometimes it's hard.
Extra work for you, Brian.
But I like what you said, Mans. It's really about people, and that's why as a studio, as a practice, my team and I have really focused on this because we're really entrusted by people to design their dreams, right? So we take it very seriously to execute it in the best way that we can and actually give them more value than what they thought was possible, right? Again, most people would just deliver, check all the boxes, we've designed you this, it's this big, it's this much. But I think in this way, we really give them more and that they grow into their home and become the people that they want to become because of their home.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Okay, Denise, this question is probably for you. When you're burnt out, how can you get back on track and reconnect your passion for designing with a purpose? That's from Caitlin.
Oh, wow. I think it's really always knowing where you get inspiration. For me, it's nature, right? It's nature, and I look at all the beautiful patterns in nature and colors, and I find that really exhilarating for me. And so actually now, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create recreate my home with nature around me on a daily basis. So I realized how important it was for me. So as many people over the pandemic, we all became plantitos and plantitas. I have to admit, I became one of those, and it's helped me cope, reconnect.
Oh, yes, bringing the outside in.
Yes, so important.
All right. Wow. Okay. I think we have time for one last question. And this is from Jenny Epperson. Hi, Jenny. And she asks, what do you like most about architecture? And what is your least favorite thing about architecture?
Oh, hi, Jenny. What I love about architecture, and this has always been since I started studying it, because I love the way that architects, as an architect, that I go through the world. I think I see the world in a different lens because of it. I see details and scenes, and how people relate to spaces, and in such a different way. And I think that's really a gift. So like I'm going through the world, seeing things, and absorbing that. So actually my memory is so visual. Like I don't really remember numbers as much, or songs, like movie titles, song titles. I can't for the life of me, but I can tell you buildings, artists, and I think that's the way I see the world. So that's what I love. About what I don't like, actually the most difficult part is executing the vision. But something really I don't like, but I think it's a difficult part, because we get through so many challenges together with the client as we get it built, because we work with people outside of our control, right? Which are workers, contractors, sorry, Brian, even suppliers, right? Right. So that is the most challenging part, when it becomes, and when we release it out into the world and see how it gets executed. So that's maybe more frustration than it is more challenge than it is something I don't like. I hope that answers your questions. There's a lot more questions. I wish I could answer all of these.
Yes. Yeah, no, Denise, it's time to choose a winner. So
okay.
What is your favorite question from all of those questions?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's see. I like the question. I like this question of Evangeline. Evangeline, what's your last name?
Evangeline.
Yes.
No, I can't seem to find Evangeline's question. Okay. They're going to, Evangeline Bugayong. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I like this question because it's about, again, how to choose the architect that best suits your project. So it's actually a really important one for anyone who's looking to build, because this is, I'm sure, the most difficult also when you're starting a project, because there's so many options. There's a lot of us out there. There's a lot of competition even that I feel. And it's really, again, comes down, you have to know who you are, and what your values are. And with every, all of us, I think, all of us designers can really execute something beautiful and functional. But if you wanted to design your design investment to give you more, I think it's really finding someone that suits your values and aligned with your purpose again, and gets you. So that's the most important. And then from there, that you'll have a successful project.
Okay, I got it. Sorry, I was so confused about where that question was.
Okay.
It's so refreshing and inspiring to be surrounded with creative geniuses. We have really progressed with our building expertise as a culture and community, how to narrow down on choosing your architect that suits your project, and what are the key questions to ask in finding the one. Okay, so that one was your favorite, Den, and that's Evangeline Bugayon. So congratulations, Evangeline. And thank you again, Denise, for sharing your time with us and personally giving your invaluable insights on designing a home with purpose. And what I learned most is you really need to take the time to share your visions with your architect, take the time to answer all those questionnaires and intake forms, because it will not only save you from problems down the road, but will also help lead you to your dream home. So Denise, is there anything you'd like to say to the many students, industry partners, clients, and friends who have joined us today?
Yeah, thank you for joining today. And I really hope that you've taken a little bit of knowledge from this and see really how finding your purpose is really so important. And it's hard to do. I have to say, it's really hard to find that. But then once you do, then waking up in the morning, it gives you direction. And just imagine if you are building a home or renovating a home or just fixing up with accessories in your home. I think focusing on what you're passionate about, what you find important, and what will make you better people in the future. I mean, that will just make your home so much more. Make it a home and not a house. So hopefully find your purpose.
Yes, thank you so much, Architect Denise, for those inspiring words. And of course, let's also thank Modularity Home for bringing us all together today. They're the reason why these conversations get better and better each time. Brian, would you like to say something before we wrap things up?
Sure. First of all, thank you, Amanda, for being our host today, for sharing your time with us. It's always refreshing to have someone new to do MODTalks with us. We hope to see you again. I'd like to thank everyone who joined today. I know there are a lot of webinars out there now. People are starting to go out, but I think this venue is still, a good venue for us to share to more people. At one point, we're gonna do live events soon, but I think this is still, it's still very effective. Most especially, I wanted to say thank you to Denise for sharing your time with us today, inspiring young architects, designers, clients. Your direction in terms of designing is really purposeful, and it shows in your passion. And whenever I talk to you and we discuss, it's really a pleasure. So thank you so much, Denise.
Thank you, Brian. Can I shout out also another? I want to thank also really the clients that have trusted us and trusted you and I, Brian, right, to put together their vision. I mean, Amanda was our first collaboration, and thanks, Amanda, for that. And then we have other clients, that like I think the TAN residence, which you showed, the L residence, which is now being completed. So without that, without the trust, it's really important for the two of us to have that.
Thank you. Thank you to the clients.
Thanks, you, Brian and Denise. On that note, thank you to our audience as well for joining our conversation, and we hope to see you again for our upcoming episodes. Visit Modularity Home Scavallini and Valcucine showrooms in Manila Peninsula and SM Mega Mall to experience their systems. Don't forget that you can follow and reach out to Modularity Home and Architect Denise via the contact details flashed on your screens. This episode, along with other previous episodes, are uploaded in Modularity Home's YouTube page, so make sure that you check that out as well. Thank you for having me and for watching this episode. See you guys again soon. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.